Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. So today we'll see one more concept in computer networks, that is the congestion control techniques. So in our previous session we have seen what is a congestion and what are the principles of congestion. So a congestion means the heavy traffic over the network which goes beyond the maximum capacity is called as a congestion. So simple real life example for this congestion is a traffic jam, right? So in today's session we'll see the techniques of congestion control. Yes, so let us start the session. So congestion control techniques, so there are mainly two techniques that controls the congestion. So one is open loop technique, and another one is closed loop technique. So the difference among this open loop and closed loop means open loop, this is a prevention based. That means before designing the network, so whatever the precautions we are taking in order to control this congestion is called as an open loop. And closed loop means once the design was completed and once the congestion occurs, then what type of things we have to take to control the congestion is closed loop. So here the congestion doesn't occur, but here the congestion occur and we are supposed to take the precautions. And I mean whatever the things we need to consider in order to avoid the precautions, that is a closed loop. So this is prevention based. That means designing of network itself will be controlling the congestions, whatever the things we need to consider. And here what should do, if congestion occur, that means in this case the congestion occurs and we have to take care about that congestion. And here the prevention based. So here there will be a lot of policies we need to consider once we are designing the network. So here, while designing the network, itself, there are a lot of policies. Okay, so the first one is retransmission policy. So the name itself indicates here the retransmission policy means, so once the data packet has been lost, then when and where the retransmission should be done. Okay, so we know that if the data packet is lost during the transmission, and the same packet should be retransmitted. So when that retransmission should be done is called as a retransmission policy. So all these policies will be taken before the design of a network. And the next one, window policy. So while retransmission of any packet, so that will be done with respect to the acknowledgement received from the receiver. So at a time, how many packets can be transmitted? Without the acknowledgement? Because we have seen a lot of techniques like select to repeat, go back in, stop and wait, all these congestion control algorithms, right? So these kind of congestion control, these kind of protocols, while using these kind of protocols, how many packets can be transmitted without receiving the acknowledgement? So that is the window policy. Okay, and all these things we need to take care while designing the network. And the next one, acknowledgement policy. So we know that once a packet is sent to the receiver will be sending back the acknowledgement of received packet. So when these acknowledgement should be sent to the receiver. I mean to the sender from the receiver. So that is an acknowledgement policy. The name itself indicates for every packet received by the receiver, it will send back an acknowledgement to the sender. So acknowledgement policy. Next, discard policy. So if a network is having a lot of congestion, automatically some of the packets will be get discarded. So which packets should be discarded? So there are a lot of parameters. So sometimes it will look about highest priority packets and lowest priority packets will be discarded, and sometimes randomly the packets will be discarded. So which packets should be discarded if the congestion occurs? That is a discard policy. And the next one is admission policy. So admission policy means, so before accepting the request, it will check whether everything is fine. So if any one of the thing is in a problem, that means either bandwidth, okay, either bandwidth or transmission rate or the current network traffic, everything will be checked, and based upon that, the new request will be accepted. So if there is any violation, automatically the request will be rejected. So that is called as an admission policy. So all these policies should be take care while designing the network. So there will be no feedback about the congestion from receiver to sender. There will be no feedback from receiver to sender in the open loop. And coming to the closed loop, so here what we are saying, what should we do if the congestion occurs? That means already the congestion is occurs in the network. That means heavy traffic in the network. Now what we have to do, right? So here automatically there will be a feedback. Oh, sorry. Here we'll see. The first one is a back pressure. Back pressure. So back pressure means automatically one router will be receiving the packets from another router, right? So if the current router is in a congestion, automatically it will send a small signal to the previous router to reduce the transmission rate. And if that previous router is also having the congestion, it will send one more signal to its router, okay, neighboring router, to reduce the transmission rate. So this is a chain process, and like that it will reduce the transmission rate. So if the transmission rate is reduced, automatically the congestion will be controlled. So that is called a back pressure. So one router sending a signal to reduce the transmission rate to the immediate previous router, so from which it was receiving the packets. And the next one, choke packet. So choke packet means if there is a congestion in the network, the receiver or the router will be sending a small control packet back to the sender, so that the sender will identify that there is a congestion in the network, and it will automatically reduces the transmission rate. So a separate control packet will be sent back to the sender, indicating there is a congestion. So that is a choke packet. Next, implicit signaling. Implicit signaling. So there will be no choke packets and anything. So based upon the packet delay and based upon the packet loss, so based upon the retransmissions, the sender will know about the congestion over the network. So if many packets were being lost, and if the delay of receiving the packets is more, automatically that gives a signal to the sender that there is a congestion, so the sender have to reduce the transmission rate. So that is called implicit. There is no choke packet and there is no another separate control packet sent to the sender, right? So that is a implicit signaling. So the sender will be knowing to reduce the transmission rate. And the next one, explicit signaling. So this is also similar to our choke packet. So this explicit signaling will be sending a signal back to the sender. So regarding the congestion and to reduce the transmission rate. So that is called as explicit signaling. It will be giving a control. So here there will be a feedback as well as monitoring of a network. So continuously the network will be get monitored, and immediately once the congestion occurs, then it will follow any one of these things, either back pressure, so sending a signal to immediate router, previous router, and choke packet, some control packet will be sent, and implicit signaling based upon the data loss and delay, it will be knowing, the sender will be knowing about that, and explicit signaling giving the feedback to the sender to reduce the transmission rate. So here the common thing is reduction or reducing transmission rate. So this is a important, very important. So if the transmission rate is reduced from the sender, automatically the congestion will be less, right? And here, so one thing, open loop means prevention based. So congestion doesn't occur. So we are taking some precautions to avoid the congestion. And coming to this closed loop, congestion will already occur. So what we have to do in order to control that congestion? Okay. And here there is a one more thing called a traffic shaping. So where it will be using two different algorithms like leaky bucket and token bucket algorithms. Okay, so that we will discuss in our next further sessions, right? So these are the two techniques to control the congestion: open loop and closed loop. So hope you understood this one, and if you are having any queries regarding this one, feel free to post your doubts in the comment section. Definitely I will try to clarify all your doubts. And if you really enjoyed the session, like my session, share my session with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.